All right, ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready.
Awesome. So today we're heading into the Florida Everglades.
Ooh,
Yeah, a
nice.
place of incredible beauty,
Yeah.
but also facing a pretty serious threat. We're talking Burmese pythons
Right.
and not your average garden snake, right?
Yeah.
These are massive predators that are really throwing the entire ecosystem off balance.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating case study in how, human actions can have those unintended consequences,
Yeah, for sure.
that ripple effect.
Yeah, and to help us navigate all of this, we have a true expert on the subject, and the story is just wild. It's Donna Kalil, I guess you could say, original Python huntress.
Yeah.
She's not just catching these snakes, she's really dedicated her life to protecting the Everglades.
It's an incredible story and her approach, really gives us a unique window into this whole challenge of managing invasive species.
Yeah, so before we get to Donna's, exploits, can you give us some background on this python invasion? How do these giant snakes even end up in Florida?
Well, it's kind of combination of factors.
Okay.
Some pythons were probably, released by pet owners who realized, oh, this 20-foot snake is a little much to handle.
Yeah, bit much for the living room.
Yeah, exactly. And then Hurricane Andrew back in '92 really devastated this python breeding facility.
Oh, wow.
And countless snakes were just released into the wild.
So it's like a recipe for an ecological disaster.
Exactly.
And the Everglades, with that warm climate, abundant prey, basically. It's like they rolled out the welcome mat.
Yeah, pretty much. And the impact on the native ecosystem has been devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, to give you a sense of the scale, studies suggest that over 90% of fur-bearing animals have disappeared from Everglades National Park.
Oh my gosh, that's heartbreaking.
It is.
And I imagine it's like a domino effect, right? Through the whole food web.
It is. It is.
What kind of animals are we talking about here?
We're talking raccoons, rabbits, possums, even bobcats.
Wow.
Animals that were once super common are now becoming really, really rare.
So enter Donna Kalil. I read that she actually transitioned from real estate
Wow, what a change.
to becoming a full-time python hunter.
That's amazing.
That's quite a leap. What drew her to this line of work?
Well, she's always had this deep connection to nature.
Definitely.
She grew up, as a military brat, moving around a lot, but she always found solace in the outdoors.
It's okay.
And then after spending years in the corporate world, she felt this pull, to do something more meaningful.
Yeah.
Something that would actually make a difference.
So she found her calling in the Everglades.
Seems like it.
That's so cool.
Mm.
The skill set required to be a successful python hunter.
Yeah.
It's not just bravery, it's strategy, understanding the environment. It's a whole other thing.
For sure. And her background in martial arts has come in handy.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, when you're wrestling with those powerful creatures.
Wow.
But I think what's more important is her knowledge of the Everglades.
Right.
She knows the terrain, the habits of the animals, the subtle signs that most people would totally miss.
Okay, I have to ask, what's it actually like to go on a python hunt with her? Paint us a picture here.
Okay, so imagine you're out in the Everglades, often at night,
Okay.
when these pythons are most active.
Right.
She's driving her truck,
Uh-huh.
which she's totally outfitted with this custom-built spotting platform.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it elevates her above the tall grasses so she has a better view.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I read that they're like masters of camouflage, though, right?
Yeah.
Super difficult to spot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Their skin just blends right into the surroundings,
Yeah.
and they can stay perfectly still for hours.
Yeah.
Just waiting.
So she's not just relying on eyesight to find them. What else does she use?
It's a combination of observation,
Oh, I.
experience, intuition.
Mm.
She's looking for tracks, shed skin, even the slightest disturbance in the vegetation.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And of course, she pays attention to how the other animals are acting.
Oh, interesting.
Like if birds are freaking out or small mammals are scarce, that could be a sign.
A bit of pythons nearby.
Exactly.
So it's like piecing together a puzzle,
It is.
using all her senses to
Totally.
track down these elusive predators.
Yeah, it's not just brute force. It's about outsmarting the python.
Wow. I know that she primarily hunts at night, but is that always the case?
Well, it depends on the season.
Okay.
During those hot summer months, they're nocturnal, hunting in the dark.
Makes sense.
But in the cooler winter months, they'll often bask in the sun during the day.
Oh, to regulate their temperature.
Exactly. So Donna adjusts her strategy accordingly.
So she's constantly adapting
She is.
to the rhythms of nature.
Yep.
I imagine there have been some pretty close calls over the years.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
She's had her share of adrenaline-pumping encounters. There was one incident with an 18-foot python that got away.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, tossing her around like a ragdoll.
Wow.
It's a constant reminder of just how powerful and unpredictable these creatures are.
I bet. But it sounds like she respects these snakes, even as she's trying to remove them.
She does, absolutely. Her dedication to protecting the Everglades goes hand in hand with her respect for all living things.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
This is already so fascinating,
Yeah.
but there's so much more to uncover.
I know, right?
I'm curious to learn about the techniques she uses to actually capture these pythons once she's found them.
Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, well, let's dive into those details right after a quick break.
Sounds good. So when she actually finds a python, she has to move fast.
Yeah.
And these snakes are so strong,
I
they
like-
can deliver a nasty bite.
It's not like she's just, scooping them up gently.
No, not quite.
Yeah.
She often has to wrestle with them,
Oh,
use her strength and her martial arts training to actually gain control.
wow.
One of her go-to moves is to grab the snake just behind the head.
Okay.
Helps to neutralize that strike.
That takes some serious courage. I can only imagine the adrenaline.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not always a one-on-one wrestling match. huh?
Right. Sometimes she has a team of volunteers with her.
They might help restrain the snake or use special tools to secure it.
So it's like a whole choreographed dance.
Yeah, you could say that.
Everyone working together
Yeah.
to subdue this creature.
Yeah, it is.
What happens once the python is captured?
Well, that's when things get really tricky.
Okay.
The reality is these pythons are an invasive species.
All right.
And they're causing so much harm to the Everglades.
So what are the options? Relocation isn't really feasible, is it?
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Relocating them would just shift the problem somewhere else.
Right.
And they could always find their way back.
So the only humane option is euthanasia.
It's a tough decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's considered the most responsible approach.
Yeah.
And there are very strict protocols in place to make sure it's done as humanely as possible.
Right.
Donna and all the other authorized removers, they're trained in these methods.
I read that Donna has a ritual that she does before euthanizing a snake.
Yeah, she takes a moment to apologize to the animal.
Acknowledging the life that she's about to take.
Hmm.
It's powerful,
Yeah.
shows her respect for the creature, even though she recognizes it has to be done.
It really speaks to the complexity of the whole thing, the
Yeah.
emotional weight of these choices.
Absolutely. There are no easy answers when it comes to invasive species.
Yeah,
You have to weigh the well-being of the individual animal
right.
against the health of the entire ecosystem.
And in this case, the stakes are incredibly high. I mean, the Everglades is so unique.
It is.
Can you talk a little bit about why it's so important to protect it?
Yeah. The Everglades is often called the River of Grass
Oh, really?
because it's this vast sheet of water that flows over this shallow, grassy plain.
Okay.
And it's home to this incredible diversity of plants and animals.
Yeah, it's like a biological treasure chest.
It is. And the pythons are a threat to that whole balance.
Yeah.
The loss of native wildlife is having a cascading effect,
Right.
disrupting those relationships that took centuries to develop.
Right. It's not just about individual species. It's about the whole system.
Exactly.
So Donna's work and the work of other hunters is crucial to giving the Everglades a chance to recover.
It is. Every python removed is a win for the native species.
Hmm.
And it might seem daunting, but there's growing evidence that these efforts are working.
That's good to hear. But she's not the only one on the front lines, right?
Oh, no, not at all.
What other strategies are being used to fight this python invasion?
There are a bunch of new tools and techniques being used.
Okay.
One promising approach is using specially trained dogs to sniff out the pythons.
Sniffer dogs for snakes.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How does that even work?
Their sense of smell is incredible.
Yeah.
They can detect even the faintest scent of a python,
Really?
even if it's hidden, deep in the undergrowth.
Yeah.
They cover a lot of ground and they're super effective.
So they're like four-legged python detectives.
That's a great way to put it. What other high-tech tools are being used?
Well, technology is becoming more and more important.
Researchers are using telemetry tracking,
Okay.
where they attach radio transmitters to the pythons
Okay.
and then follow their movements,
So they're basically spying on the snakes
pretty much.
to learn about their habits.
Exactly. This information helps us understand their behavior, where they like to hang out,
Right.
and develop better ways to control them.
It's like a game of cat and mouse, but with high tech.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in addition to the telemetry,
Yeah.
drones and helicopters are also being used
Oh, wow.
to conduct aerial surveys, search for pythons from above.
I can imagine that gives you a whole new perspective on the scale of this.
It does. It's pretty awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
And a little bit sobering, too. The Everglades is so vast and complex.
Yeah.
And these pythons are so adaptable.
So it's a constant battle.
It is.
A race against time to find new ways to manage this.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, is there any hope for the Everglades? Can it recover from all of this?
Well, the future of the Everglades is, uncertain.
Yeah.
But I think there are reasons to be hopeful.
Okay.
Just the fact that we're talking about this, that there are people like Donna out there.
Right.
Scientists are working on new strategies. All of that shows that people are aware and committed to fixing this.
That's good. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the scale of it all,
Oh, yeah,
but it sounds like there's a real effort to turn things around.
there is. And, ecosystems are pretty resilient.
Okay.
Given the chance, nature can really heal itself.
That's true. I read about some areas where python removal has been really successful,
Right.
and the native wildlife is starting to bounce back.
That's right. There are parts of the Everglades where we're seeing some really encouraging signs.
Like what?
Small mammals are coming back, bird populations are getting more stable,
Okay.
the overall biodiversity is increasing.
That's awesome. That's proof that these programs are working.
It is. It shows that even when things look really bad,
Yeah.
we can still make a difference.
Inspiring, right?
It is. It shows that persistence pays off.
Yeah.
And while we still have a long way to go, right.
These successes give us some hope for the future.
I like that. We've talked a lot about the science and strategies,
Yeah.
but I want to go back to Donna for a second.
Sure.
Her story is incredible.
It is.
What can we learn from her dedication and her approach to all of this?
She embodies this spirit of resilience,
Mm-hmm.
this refusal to give up, even when things seem impossible.
Right.
She reminds us that everyone can make a difference,
Yeah.
that our actions have an impact.
Her connection to nature is so inspiring.
It is.
That respect for all living things.
Yeah, even the pythons.
Right.
Those are qualities we should all try to cultivate.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Everglades and python hunters,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway you want listeners to remember?
Well, Everglades are facing a big challenge,
Yeah.
but there's hope through science, community involvement,
Right?
and the dedication of people like Donna.
Yeah.
We can restore this ecosystem and make sure it survives. It's a story of resilience, human ingenuity, and the power of working together.
It is.
It reminds us that even with these big environmental problems,
Right.
we can make a difference.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this journey through the Everglades.
Yeah, it's been great.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.